Okay, this is Rory Tate. His subject is A Valuable Legacy. He's from St Joseph's College on Gregory Terrace. You can begin now, Rory.
Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen, a lowly paid worker by the name of Athiraman Kanan took off his shoes and laid them on a carpet and thought how cool and pleasant it was, even though it was 48 degrees outside. He was on the 148th floor of the Burj Khalifa, and as he crawled through an air conditioning unit and smashed the final heaven, he could see Dubai sprawled out magnificently below him. He took a big breath and jumped to his death. He was a cleaner for the tallest building in the world, but received some of the lowest wages in the developed world. Arab Tech, his employer, have denied him leave to attend the funeral of his dead brother, as leave was forbidden for menial workers and at best limited to once every 2 years. What is the significance of this tragic story? Well, this man left behind a valuable legacy for me, and one that is not as famous as, say, Nelson Mandela's, that has made me change the way I look at society in general and the frequent injustices that exist but are not often obvious. I was 3.5 when my family moved to Dubai. The company my dad worked for went bankrupt, and the only job that presented itself for him was in the United Arab Emirates. So off we went on a new life adventure. Obviously, life as an expat in an Arab country was quite different from the life we had known here in Australia. Everything was new, everything was shiny, and everything seemed very flashy indeed. Wealth was abundant, and it was all pretty mind-blowing, that's for sure. But after a little while, I started noticing odd little things that took my attention. For instance, I vividly remember driving in the car with my dad one day, and I saw what seemed like hundreds of construction workers in their trademark blue overalls sprinting for their bus. I was perplexed and asked, "Dad, why are they running so fast? There seem to be plenty of buses." And he said, "Well, they're trying to be one of the first back to their labour camps, as there are not enough beds for them all, and it is first in, first served." And I said, "Dad, what does that mean?" And he said, "Well, most labour camps have 2 bunk beds per room, and more than 10 men are expected to sleep in that small room. So most end up on a hard concrete floor." I found this incredibly sad at the time, and I guess it was from this moment on that I took a particular interest in those men in blue overalls who I seemed to see everywhere and who always seemed quite sad. I also noted when Dubai's temperatures neared 50 degrees Celsius and we all seemed confined to air conditioning and chilled pools, these men in their thick blue overalls worked on relentlessly like ants in burning sun. Even at 5 or 6, I knew that something was not right. As I got older, I started asking more questions and did some fairly primitive research into what seemed to me like modern day slavery. It was common knowledge that these men worked 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, and got Friday off. What is not common knowledge, however, is that these men are lured from their home countries in Asia with the promise of money and a better life for themselves and their families. They often stay for years to pay this agency fee, only to arrive and be stripped of their passports, watch helplessly as their work contracts are ripped up and are paid less than half of what they are promised. And that is if they are paid at all. The average wage for a construction worker is about 220 Australian dollars a month. Yes, that's right, a month. And let me do the sums for you. That's about $8 a day. These men live in cramped corrugated iron huts where, if they are lucky, they get one toilet and one shower per 50 men. Is this me? Or does this sound like modern day slavery to you? How can this be happening? Isn't Dubai the land of the tallest buildings in the world? The largest man-made island? 7-star hotels? The land where wages are astronomical and tax-free? Mr. Kanan's suicide, unlike umpteen others, was impossible to hide and made the papers. It shocked and affected me the day it happened in 2011, and it continues to shock and disgust me. I feel I've gained a great deal of life experience during my 10 years in Dubai, but one of the most valuable legacies I have learned is that not everything is what it appears. I often remember Mr. Kanan and his family. The lasting legacy this man left behind to me is one that I will try and apply throughout my life, and hopefully one day I'll be able to make a difference towards the many hidden social injustices that exist but are not often obvious.